Welcome to Online AP Stats. In this video, I want to give you an overview of how to use Schoology. At the top of the course, you're going to see a Google link for a testing reservation form. Every student has a designated testing hour, in which is the hour you would test. You will sign up for your test one day in advance so I know when you're coming in. There's also going to be a folder if you need to access my available hours or to use the Flex Scheduler to come and see me. Some course resources we'll talk about, and then the actual course introductory folder, which is where we begin before we start Chapter 1. You can always see what's happening in the week right here, or if you want to, click on the calendar and get a monthly view of what's expected of you. This course is not self-paced. It is paced out with recommended deadlines when to meet things. You will have an official deadline. You have about 1 week beyond what you see in Schoology for when assignments are due. Past that date, you earn 0 points. So really, you want to try to stay on pace with what's recommended. But if you are behind a day or two, don't worry, you can always get caught up. The actual course is split into 4 main topics over 12 chapters. The first Schoology folder that we're going to have covers chapters 1 through 7, which is the first 3 topics, which we do in first semester. The green folder is going to be data exploration, which is chapters 1 through 3 in topic 1. Topic 2 is designing a study, which is chapter 4 in the orange folder. And then the last topic for first semester is probability, which covers chapters 5 through 7 in the blue folders. We'll then go into our second Schoology course for second semester and finish with topic 4, which is inferences, and that's chapters 8 through 12. The last 3 weeks of the course before your exam, we will actually do a review for that one. As you prepare for your 2-part exam, the first part of your exam is 90 minutes long and it's 40 multiple choice questions. The second part of your exam is another 90 minutes long and it's 6 free response questions. For all 12 of these chapters, you will have chapter tests, and they are going to be paper-based summative assessments for you to come on in and take with me. Now, if you click on the course resources folder, you're going to find all of these various documents. I'm not going to go over all of them. One of them that I talk about in the syllabus is having an online textbook. You all are going to have a hard copy book, but if you want the online version, you can click on this and share one, or see me and I can get you your own login information. I also have the YouTube playlist right here if you want to link that and earmark it. It has all of our 100+ videos available. You can always find the syllabus online, the 1-page review of how the learning cycle goes for each chapter. We will talk about the testing and when you need to take a summative test for a chapter, what are those testing dates and where do you go for testing? This is where some of that information is. And then you're going to find some other general information that we may reference throughout the year. The formula sheet right here, you do have a copy at the beginning of the year, but you can always find it there. The one thing that is interesting, there's this link called What's Your College Credit Policy? If you click on that, you can actually search the colleges that you're interested in, and you can see what is the required score you must get on the National AP exam to actually get college credit for their institution. Every chapter is going to have a very similar flow. You're going to have a question board where you can post questions, a resources folder with some things you may need to access, a quick overview of what the chapter is about, and then you're going to see some orange folders that have all of the daily learning in there. Here we have with the first day 5, we have the learning going on. Then we take a break and do a mid-chapter free response. We then get back into the learning for day 7 and 8, and then we start wrapping it up with some helpful hints, a second free response for the chapter, a review assignment, and then a video of that review solutions along with the question board popping up again to see if we have any help that you need. Some optional multiple choice and free response review. In this particular chapter, we do have a 2-day test. We have 1 multiple choice, which is paper-based, and a second day, which is a free response, also paper-based. One of the things to know about the multiple choice test, you do get 2 options when you take the test. So what you're going to do if you want to circle 2 choices, you would circle choice 1 and put a 1 by it, choice 2 and put a 2 by it. If your first choice is right, you get 100% for that question. If your second choice is right, you get 50% of the points for that question. So it's a way of getting some partial credit on a multiple choice. If either of these tests did not go well, you will have 1 week to come in and do a retake as long as the retake window is still viable. Some of the chapter tests are not retakeable due to the timing and how close they are to the end of the quarter. Also, in order to retake a test, you must qualify. To qualify to retake, all of your formative work must have been in by the day that you took the test. If any formative work was missing, you are not allowed to qualify to prepare for that retake. Now, if you click into the Chapter 1 Resources folder, you're going to find three different things. There's going to be the electronic version of the online notes. So if you like to do your notes online, you can do this instead of the paper packet. Chapter 1 Helpful Hints. I highly recommend you read these before you take any of the major tests related to this chapter. And there's actually the tracker will be in here also. And the tracker is just going to show us the pacing and the learning objectives that are going to be covered on the various days. After the resource folder, there's the opener, which is what you see as the picture on the front page. Just read the chapter opener to see what a case study would be like related to the chapter content. Now let's take a look at what would a typical day's learning look like. Here I have Day 3's learning, which covers learning objectives from section 1.1, letters D, E, and F. These are the particular objectives that the lesson will cover. When you click in that folder, this folder here is going to have to happen in a sequence. If you click on Student Progress, it will show you the order in which things have to happen. And you're going to see it laid out in that particular order. This first one here is the video notes for learning objectives D and E. You're going to notice here it says you must view the item to move forward. So watch the video, get out your note packet, and complete your notes. When you're done with that, then click on this practice document. When you click on the practice document, you're going to actually be taken to this assignment right here. If you want to, you can reference the practice problems here in a PDF format, but these practice problems are actually in your note packet, so you can really use it like a workbook. When you try those practice problems and you want to see if you're right, click this document here to actually get the solutions and just check your practice. The practice is not required, but it is highly encouraged to do. Then you're going to be following up with your first formative assessment. The green puzzle pieces, a lot of the times, are going to be formative. So when we look at this, it says here you must score at least 80% to move on. This is a homework quiz for the 3 learning objectives. This right here is an example of one of the questions you would be asked. So read the question, do the fill in the blank, and submit your responses. You do have 3 tries to achieve the 80% proficiency on here. If you do not make the 80% proficiency, you are locked out and you cannot move on. You must contact me to get some help in trying to figure out the extra learning you need to do so you can resolve what you're not getting correct. Once that's been done, I'll unlock the quiz and you can move forward. Sometimes in the learning objective days, you're going to find what's called here a MC quiz. It's a multiple choice quiz. These are actual multiple choice questions that have been given on past exams. This question right over here is an actual example of a question that was on a past exam. You also have 3 tries on this multiple choice quiz and must get at least 80% proficiency. Again, you will be locked out, but you can see me for some additional help and I can unlock it so you can move forward and continue your learning. Now, some of the daily learnings will also have applets for you to do. This happens to be day 5 within chapter 1. It's a stats applet on histogram bin width. Just read the directions and it's going to tell you what to do. Click on the applet. When you're inside of it, all the directions are here. And this says to click on this link. When you click on the link, you'll be brought to an activity that you need to perform. Read the directions on what you're asked to do. When you're done with the activity, look at the follow-up discussion question that you need to answer. And you would go here in the comment section and give your reply to what your thoughts are. Another type of assignment is a student upload. This is one where I ask you a question and you're going to have to write out your answer. Maybe you have to make a graph. You will have to take a photo of your work and upload it to this assignment. I will come on in and manually grade this assignment for you. If you don't get 100% on it, I will give you feedback in the comments where you can resubmit it for a second time to try to get 100% on that work. And this is really an assignment to help us prep for more of the free response type of questions that you would expect on a final exam. Now, every chapter you're going to encounter a mid-chapter free response and a pacing grade. For chapter 1, I do have a document I want you to read on how free responses are scored in AP Stats. So please read this first so you get an understanding of what indicates a 1, 2, 3, or 4, knowing that a 3 or a 4 is what is considered passing for the AP board. Now, in this particular day of learning, what you're going to do is you're going to click on the mid-chapter free response, and within there you're going to see a free response you need to do. Please print that out or write it in your notebook. Take about 10 to 15 minutes and do your best to actually write out what you think is the correct answer in such that you can get the best score. When you're done with that, take a photo and upload it to here. This is an assignment that I grade, and I do not let you retake it. So this is the one shot you get at it. Most things in this class you get to retake, but not this. So be thoughtful before you upload your answer. Also, this formative assignment is worth 200 points. If you get a 4, you would get 200. If you qualify for a 3, about a 150, a 2, a 100, and a 1 would be about 50 points. This is also a time that a pacing score is going to come into play for the chapter. There's only one pacing score per chapter. This is also worth 200 points. So this full day is 400 points. If you upload your free response documentation on the day that it's posted on Schoology, that's the due date, you get all 200 points for pacing. Very easy. You have 1 week to achieve your pacing for this. If within the end of that week you just get this uploaded, I will maybe give you about 50 points. After that, it's 0. So for me, that means you can be within 1 week behind and you can still be fine with the scores. Every chapter does have this pacing score. Ultimately, it comes to be about 2% of your overall grade in this course. So if you were to miss every single pacing score where you're always behind in a chapter, your grade could be lower overall by about 2%, which may or may not make a difference for you. Now, once all your formal learning is done, we're going to really get into the review mode. I encourage you first to click on the helpful hints, read all of the details about that chapter. It's going to help you prepare for the free response and the exams that are coming up. The vocabulary flashcards are optional. You can try and look at those if you would like to. The next thing for this day is to do your second free response for the chapter. If you click into the folder, you're going to see a variety of things to accomplish for this assignment. The first thing is to click on the first free response question. Please read it and type up what you think is the best response. This is not graded on correctness, just on your effort. I then want you to review how free responses are scored in AP Stats. How do you get a 1, 2, 3, or 4? Once you better understand that, you're now going to critique 2 different student responses to the exact same question you just answered. Please read this and give it a score of 1, 2, 3, or 4 with an explanation why. Do the same for student 2. After that, look at the actual critiquing scoring rubric used by the AP Stats board in correcting that one, just to get a better understanding of what a real 4 answer would have been like. Then I'm going to have you do this one more time. Actually click on this free response question here. I would encourage you to, when you click in here, to either print out the free response or write it out on your own paper. Do your best in trying to answering this question within 10 to 15 minutes. Once you're done answering that, take a photo of it and upload it to this assignment. You're then going to come on in and actually read what the correct solution is for it, and then wrap it up by going into this discussion question and critiquing the work that you actually uploaded. It is irrelevant if you get a 1, 2, 3, or 4 on this. You are graded on your honest discussion of how you think you really would have scored on this free response. After that, we then go into our next day of doing the review. This chapter review is found in your note packet. I encourage you to try the multiple choice and the free response on paper. Then you come into the green puzzle piece, click in your answers for the multiple choice so you can get them graded. Sometimes the free responses will actually have fill in the blank questions so you can get those graded too. I do have a video of all the solutions for that, so feel free to look at that one. Day 11 is a time for you to continue to study and let me know if you have any questions. Now, when it comes time to test, of the 12 chapters, 4 of those are going to have a 2-day test. Chapter 1, 4, 8, and 9. You're going to notice here for Chapter 1, we have the multiple choice test on one day and then the free response. I will always supply some optional multiple choice practice and optional free response practice if you want. Click into those, get the questions, and you can also see the answers. Remember, we said for multiple choice, you get 2 choices. The second answer would be your partial credit. Now, the date that you see these tests posted in Schoology is the due date. You have a deadline for these exams. You have 1 week following the due date to get these exams done. If they are not completed by then, you get 0 points and cannot take the exam. Now, if you've taken the exam within the appropriate 1 week window and it didn't go well, you can retake it. In order to qualify for a retake, however, recall when you took this multiple choice test, all of your formative work had to be 100% complete. If it's not complete, you have forfeited your right to retake. If it has been completed, then you qualify for the retake. You would come in and see me. We'll sit down and go over your test. We'll get out the learning objective tracker found in your note packet. We'll highlight the learning objectives that you missed on that initial test. Now, you will have just 1 week from the day that you took the initial test to get this retake done. So that means you need to meet with me to get the relearning in an adequate amount of time. You need to do this 2 days prior to that deadline at the least, or do it sooner. Then when you're ready to retake, you would sign the testing form and sign up for a day within that 1 week window. And the new score you get on that retake is the final score that goes into Skyward. For teacher communication, the main source I plan to use are the updates on Schoology. Every week you can expect to either have a short video of breaking news or a paragraph text talking about some of the key things for the upcoming week. This may be about a key date for a test that's coming up for the week or some assignments that may be due on a certain day. Now, I do also plan on using email for communication, but I will primarily try to use the updates on Schoology so everything is housed in one spot. The other thing I want to do is help us create some sense of community. So once a week, you're going to see me post a poll about 2 truths and a lie about each one of you students. I challenge you to see if you can figure out which is the lie. Now let's talk about student progress. There are times when students are trying to click on and go into a different thing within a folder. So let's say they haven't clicked on the video or they haven't clicked on this practice, but they're trying to get into the green puzzle piece and it says your access is denied. Well, it's not the system, it's actually you. If you click on the student progress at any point in time, you can see the order in which things have to be done. The learning here is sequential, so you can't skip from section 1.1 to section 1.2 without having the previous section done. It means your progress has not been made. So if you take a look at it, for example, this video, it must be viewed. So click on it, then you can go on to the next thing. This practice assignment must be viewed. And then this quiz, you must score at least 80%. So if you can't move forward, please look at your progress first and see if there's something that you have to do as a previous assignment or a previous click to access the item you're trying to get to. If that still doesn't work, then please contact me for help. Now, students may have questions about what are your grades on certain assessments. All you need to do is you can click on this grades icon here, and it's going to list them by the category. So this one here is formative, which is 20% of your grade. Here's some practice categories which aren't graded, but they're activities you did. For example, the chapter review or your initial free response write-up that you did. And then there's the summative category, which will basically show your multiple choice and free response tests. And here it's 80%. Now, if you look back at the formative category, this is actually alphabetical and not in sequential order, so you might have to dig around and look and see where your assignment is. Now, be careful. This is not a progress thing, so if you're trying to click on to the next quiz, it may not let you go there yet because there might be a video you have to watch, or an assignment you have to open, or an applet you have to do. The last thing about grades to keep in mind is the grades that are posted here in Schoology are not considered the formal grades. I will be pushing your grades out of Schoology into Skyward. Your official grade book for looking at your true progress in this class will be to look at Skyward. However, don't forget you can always look back here in the Schoology part and see what grades maybe have not yet been submitted into Skyward and are yet to come.